Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. Yeah, we got this little Mustang ready to do some glass work to it. Been kind of jamming, been busy. Got my vertical stab, almost got all the rivets on. And guess what? Showed up today. Wasn't expecting it till tomorrow. My vacuum chamber. Come with a couple on and off valves. Pressure gauge, vacuum gauge. Not a bad little setup. A little pricey, but man, they all are. They look pretty easy to make, but oh well. I've seen some cheaper ones, but they had some bad ratings. Didn't hold pressure. This one here, it had good ratings, holds pressure, so we should be good to go. And so I can get on them small parts soon. But first, today, I want to get this glassed. Okay? Then we're going to, there's no wind out, man. Today's a perfect day for painting. So I'm going to finish up them rivets and get some white on them bad boys. Get them things painted. Put some stickers on. And I got my canopy glued on this morning. Sitting down drinking my coffee. Went ahead and did that because it'll be easier to mold, and I'm going to try vacuum forming my own canopies because I can make a plug really easy out of my mold. And then I don't know, later on maybe. And for this part back here, see, that's where my stabs, I'm molding them with that little tab on them. So they'll just slip in there. But what I want to do is I still want that in there, but just not all the way through. I'm going to pack it with clay. And leave it about an 1/8 inch deep. So I have a nice lip. My stabs will slip right in there and glue in. But I took some more of that liquid plastic. I put this in there and held it up like this. And filled the bottom up with that liquid plastic for that little hole. And this here. Then when it was almost set up, I just started wiggling it. That liquid plastic's pretty cool. This blue stuff here, man, it sets up quick. It starts gelling up within 3 or 4 minutes. And an hour, it's completely set up. And now, when I get it all parting planed up, I'm gonna use this steel to pack my clay in, then leave it about 1/8 inch. So my mold will come out. My parts will come out with that in there. Okay, well, that's about all I did. Take my glass on, let that dry, and that is ready to mold. Bam, I'm going to try and buff it. Some flat spots in this plastic. If I buff that, I'm going to try buffing it, see if I can't make that shiny. Oh, I dropped it. It's getting heavy. It's like a plug. And get that done. We got a lot to do today. I got to get busy. But first, we're going to get a coat of this on. And also, went out yesterday and got me some primer sealer. So okay, this is just a single stage, and it's real thin. Here now, it's almost like water, except they don't make clear. My buddy always used clear, but he never painted anything without sealing it first. And then they told me at the auto parts store, O'Reilly's, I could use epoxy primer as a sealer. And he said that's what a lot of guys use, but I don't want to fill up what I just did. I want it real thin, but that's what this is. Select Seal. It's just a sealer. That's all it is. Seals your primer, keeps anything from bleeding through. I'm kind of scared that all that burn mark on top of that primer will eventually, you know, I won't do it in a couple days, but 6 months, it might start to bleed into that white, and I don't want that. Because Blue Angels were always real clean airplanes, or Thunderbirds. Now, to glasses, I'm going to use my Z epoxy finishing resin. See that? Finishing resin. Basically, there's two types of resin. There's laminating resin and there's finishing resin. The difference is this won't dry with the waxy film, and it's for finishing. That's what it's for. And laminating resin's for gluing stuff together. But it's basically, it don't take a whole lot. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. Then I'll set my tubes down and see how equal I was. Use a mixing stick and just pick up one. Yeah, set it down then. See how even I was. A little bit more there. This takes about, I put 2 coats on. That's how I keep from pinholes getting in. Okay, because a lot of this first layer gets soaked into the wood, soaks into the fiberglass, and but there's just a small window where you can put a second coat. If you wait till it's all the way dry and you try to put a second coat on there, it'll fisheye, it'll just look nasty. If you do it too soon, you'll still end up with pinholes. There's just a small window when it's dry to the touch and still kind of tacky. That's bam, get that second coat on there. And you'll end up with 0 pinholes. 0. It took me years to perfect my glassing techniques, and you know, some people, after you let it dry, then you put it on with a brush, resin, and then sand. Oh God, you're sanding for days, man, and it just didn't work. And, Balcom, we built a lot of airplanes together. And filler came out pretty good. Someone said that my filler don't dry like the stuff from the hobby shop. I don't like the stuff from the hobby shop. I think that's hard to sand. I like this stuff better, and I've used it a lot. It's no softer than balsa wood, Basically, I'm gonna get some resin on here. You can't be skimpy with the resin. You're almost better off putting more on there than you need and squeegee it on. And if you try and leave it too thick, what'll happen is the glass will lift and you'll end up with bubbles, wrinkles. It's from too much resin. And it dries quicker because there's more of it, and you can't get them out. Well, the rest of this is still wet, but this ain't. So you don't want to leave too much, is what I'm saying. I'm going to wrap this old fuselage in one piece. It's a little harder to do that way, but you end up with you don't have seams on the top. So you end up with a better finished product. Now, we all know I got a lot to do in the shop, a lot going on, but I gotta make a little bit of time here and there for this. Took this outside this morning, sand it good with some rough grit. You gotta go across the grain, man. That's what gets those things flat. Is you gotta go across the grain. You know, it leaves gouges, because I like rough paper when I'm doing that, man. That makes it flat. It don't, then the different grain hardnesses don't mess with you. See, when you're using soft paper in your hand, you know, the harder spots in the wood don't sand as good as the soft spots, and you'll end up with something that ain't flat. You get in there with some 50 grit, baby, and go cross grain, it's gonna be flat. I don't care how soft spots, hard stuff, spots, it just ain't gonna matter, you know. Man, I gotta order some wood today. People ask me where I ordered my balsa wood from. It's, usually get it from Lone Star, but I tried to order some a week or two ago and he didn't answer the phone, but that's not that uncommon for him. Or been on vacation or something. But I love this epoxy, man. I tell you what, I've tried, you know, all the other brands for finishing resin, you know, and this epoxy's the bomb. Some of that stuff is just too thick. It's just like laminating resin, you know, and I don't like it when it's like that. Where this stuff is just thin enough to soak on the wood. You know, me and old Balcom had this idea one time. We was glassing a plate of his. He said, well, let's just thin it and brush on that second coat and it'll come out like glass. So we did it. And it looked good when we left it. I think it was late at night. Went back the next day, man, it was just terrible. It had like fish eyes all over it. And it took him days to sand that thing smooth. You know, that it had so much resin on it, that's all he had to do was sand it. And it came out smooth. I forget what plane it was on. Might have been one of his A4s. You know, let this set about 2 or 3 hours before I put that second coat on. Then you don't sand it after that. You scrape it with a razor blade. I'll show you. And it just comes out so smooth, you won't believe how smooth it comes out. Get this done, and this side, then I'm going to flip her upside down and do the bottom. Man, how about Survivor last night, man? They voted out Malcolm. They just want to keep that nerdy-o alliance going, but you wait. That one girl, you know, the one that flops sides, Sherry, she's going to be going for the ladies against the men here before long. I say the next week, especially when all the other tribe is done voted out. There's only 2 of them left, and then Sherry, she turned. So Sherry's going to be thinking that she's next, and she's going to try and get it to a woman against the men. I see that coming. That's what Survivor always comes down to most of the time. Women against the men. And Sherry, she's a case too, man. One little snip there. Here's where you gotta be careful. You want to pull it and twist it and do everything you don't want it to do. And you don't want it to move that much, so.